All right, y'all, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by Let's Toast Events channel. If you're here on a Thursday, I believe you came to Toast a Thursday. Y'all know that's my thing. So please raise your glass, whatever it is that you are drinking out of, and let's toast a Thursday. Y'all please comment on what y'all toasting to on Thursday. What special occasion you have going on. What did you have in your glass to toast to? I'm just drinking some sparkling ice water today. I'm not doing a whole lot of anything else. You know, typically I toast with y'all, but today, not today. So if you are here for the first time on my channel, my name is Keandria Pollard. I go by the name of Kiki because most people forget that I have an I before my A in Keandria. Even though I can write it down, I can put it in the email, I can type it, text it, email. It doesn't matter. People still forget the I before the A, and I'm so that's a pet peeve of mine. So it is Keandria, 4 syllables, not 3. Just call me Kiki. I am a wedding. I own a business here in the city of Richmond, the state of Virginia. It's called Let's Toast Events, where I'm a wedding planner, wedding officiant. I'm an experienced wedding chaos coordinator, and I also have a marriage resource company. I have been operational since 2015. I keep saying I, but I need to say we because we have expanded. So we have different officiants that work with us, under us, and planners and all that kind of good stuff. But I am the owner, so I'm the main face that you will see most of the time. And today, if you are here, you should know that I give a lot of tips and information in reference to planning weddings and things of that nature. Wedding planning, wedding coordinating, officiants, getting your marriage license, all that stuff. So before we go any further, I want to give y'all a few seconds to pause. Please like the video, comment, say, hey, I'm here. Subscribe to my channel. So I'll go ahead and give y'all a few more seconds to do that. All right, so I hope that my subscriber list should now have grown, right? Because y'all liked it, right? Y'all subscribe to my channel. Today, we are going to discuss how to pick your wedding vendors. I'm going to give you some tips on what you need to do when you are selecting your vendors. And once you select them, what you should expect from your vendors. It is the holiday season, so I'm not going to try to hold y'all long, but I am going to be strong. I want to give y'all some good information. So without further ado, let's get started. First thing I will always tell people to do when they're selecting their vendors, when they're planning a wedding, period, like literally one of the first things you should do after you bask in the enjoyment of being engaged is discuss the budget. Figure out how much money y'all want to spend. And a lot of times you may not know how much money you need to spend or want to spend because you don't know how much stuff costs. So you have to do some research and figure out how much the stuff costs. So once you get down the cost and you realize how much money you want to spend, you have to find vendors that are in that bracket of how much money you want to spend per vendor. So if you say, hey, I'm having a micro wedding in a year, I'm going to have, 40, no more than 50 guests total, and I want to spend, $1,000 on a photographer, then you need to put that down on your list, put it underneath your budget for $1,000. Then I need you to go and start doing research on which photographers charge $1,000. You can do it that way. Or when you're trying to discover a budget, you might want to go and start looking at photographers that you like, seeing how much they cost, and putting that in your budget and then coming up with a budget from then. Then you might have to, once you figure out, okay, I really like these type of cakes and they usually run about, $300 for the many guests that I want to have. So maybe you have to, start making your budget from that. Like, okay, the cake gonna be at least $300, I know. Okay, the photographers I like, most of them gonna be at least $1,000 for 6 hours. Okay, Go down your list and then you can discover your budget that way. And then you can go and pick those photographers that you like. Make a list. It can be a photographer John, photographer Kate, and photographer Travis. Okay? You got 3 photographers you want to choose for. So once you got your budget on how much money you want to spend for your photographers, then you write your list on these vendors that are in your category. And another way you can find vendors is word of mouth. That's another way you can find your vendors. You can ask your co-workers, other colleagues, associates, family members, friends, social media, people who just got married, and you seen something that they're like, oh, that decorate. I love, the color palette they came up with. I wonder who helped them with the design. Ask them. and you can get the information from there. You can figure out how much they cost. That's another way how you will be able to discover your vendor. So one way you first thing you have to do is find out vendors that's in your price range. The second thing you can do is how you pick your vendors is ask people, word of mouth. Who did my Aunt Kate use when she got married? What about my friend Sean when she got married? What did she do? My cousin Leroy, who did he use? You also can, again, social media. The third thing you can do is go on social media to find vendors. A lot of vendors are being really, really diligent in putting their work on social media because they realize in today's time, if you don't have a social media page, then most people, unfortunately, in the younger generation, they go to the social media before they go to the website. So it also depends what age you are in, because a lot of people who are maybe my age and older will probably go to the website, and a lot of people at my age and younger will probably go to social media. So do both. Go to their social media, find their website, look up things, so you can find your vendors by finding out who's in your price range. Then you can find out vendors from word of mouth. Then you can find out vendors through social media. And then also you can go to trade shows. That's the fourth thing you can do to find vendors. Go to trade shows. When I say a trade show, I mean like wedding shows. A lot of times they are free, or if you do it in advance, it's very inexpensive, $10 or so. It's a lot of ones that are local. I would definitely recommend you to go to the local ones, because sometimes when you have a small business, you cannot, I'm not gonna say you can't afford it, but you will find more bang for your buck sometimes. Us as vendors, we find more bang for our buck when we can do 3 smaller trade shows versus spending, $1,000, $2,000 for that one big trade show. There's a whole lot more competition, especially if you're new in. Then a lot of people haven't heard of you. They may not be interested in coming to your table. So I'm saying that to say is, if you're a couple looking for vendors, then don't discount going to trade shows, especially local small trade shows, ones that people put on like me. I'm trying to do one for next year. That's gonna be a smaller one. It's not gonna be as big as one you can get from the convention center when they have it. I think they have theirs in like January, and I think they do another one in October or something like that. Like, mine's not gonna be that big, but I'm gonna have good quality people there. You're gonna be able to get exactly what it is you want and need. You're going to have at least one person per category. So you're going to be able to, start doing some research. And again, if you start early, then you will be able to get exactly who and what you need. And when you get who and what you need, then you go to these trade shows, and a lot of people are in one spot. So that's going to stop it. That's going to, a whole lot of guesswork and a whole lot of back and forth and stuff like that. If you go to a trade show, then you'll be able to get a whole lot in one swoop. So I definitely would recommend trade shows. That's another way. So again, to recap, you want to do your budget. Once you figure out, once you do your budget and figure out who's in your budget, then I need you to, ask people like, hey, who do you use? Word of mouth is a good one. Another thing is social media, reviews, websites, things like that you can do research on, discovering who these vendors are to get to know them a little better. And then you can also do trade shows. That's another way that you will be able to find these vendors. So, all right, we got that done. You had all your lists done. You narrowed them down, and you said, okay. You tell your husband or your wife, your spouse, you say, okay, I think I like this one. Y'all both agree on the one y'all want to use. Then what should you do next? When it comes time to you get ready to sign these people, you're saying, okay, I want to move forward. We decided we're going to move forward with you. We're going to move forward with you, Kiki, with Let's Host Events. So what you're going to do? First thing that you should do also as a couple signing on these vendors is you should make sure that they are licensed or insured or have whatever accreditations that is needed. Now, I can't tell you how often it is that couples were, let's just say, a little naive, and it's understandably so, but they was a little naive, and they decided to book someone without making sure that they were licensed, making sure that they didn't that they are legit, they have a legit business. Why is that important? Because a lot of venues now actually want to see that your vendors are licensed and insured. Like if I have a big, beautiful venue space, I want to make sure the people I come here are quality people, that they are just as much about their business as I am. So when they come in here, they're not going to be scratching up floors, because they understand when they move the furniture, they need to move it a certain kind of way because they understand how all this works. You understand what I'm saying? I want to make sure that that they have the business license. Like, come on now, that's a bare minimum. It's a business license. Like, do you have a business license? Could I go to the city or the county or the state and see that you are registered, that you did at least you care enough about your business and you are serious enough that you're going to say, okay, I'm going to make sure that I have my accreditation as far as my license and insurance, especially if you like doing stuff like with food. That's another big one that needs to make sure they have insurance, because heaven forbid, what if somebody gets sick and somebody want to come for you? You know, you want to make sure that your vendors, they have that protection as well. Here at Let's Host Events, we are licensed and we are insured. Even though we don't really do a whole lot of things that can cause harm, we not like doing food or, doing stuff like that. Food is not the only place, of decoration, moving stuff that can fall on somebody's foot. Of course, you want to be insured if somebody, foot get injured or something like that. Somebody slip and fall on a rose petal. If you a florist and you had the rose petals, anything can happen. You want to just make sure you have that cushion, just like a car insurance. You want to hope no one runs into you and you don't run into nobody else. But just in the event that you do, you want to make sure you have what it is that you need, So make sure they have their accreditations for their business. Next thing is, once you decide to move forward and book them, make sure you sign a contract. Not just you, but also them. Make sure a contract is presented. That is another thing that it really does something to me when I realize my couples, before they get to me and they book people, they don't have contracts. Sometimes people, because I understand things cost. So sometimes they try to cut costs by hiring a cousin or an aunt or someone like that who they know who's able to do certain things. But in doing so, they don't have a real business. You just know your aunt can really fry a mean leg. Like her, oh my goodness, them wings, them legs is something else. Okay, so she can cook good. She cook off all the family functions. So you want to get your aunt there, but your aunt's not licensed, not insured, and you didn't do a contract with her. And then, this is your wedding day. This is one of the most important days of your life. Do you really want to put it in the hands of someone who don't have those accreditations and then you don't have a contract? So if something happened, even with family, because things can fall out bad from family too. You will hope not, but it happens. Things happen. So, and you don't have a contract, so you don't really know the logistics behind what it is they're going to do and not going to do. Not a good look. So make sure your vendors are licensed, insured, have their accreditations or whatever they may be. Make sure you sign a contract. They sign a contract. Y'all sign a contract. Make sure you do that. Contract is needed. And then make sure you understand what's in the contract. Sit down with your vendor. You can have a video chat with them. Just kind of go down the checklist of what your contract is. You want to make sure you understand, okay, as a caterer, you're going to be there, right? Okay, are you clearing all the tables, or do I need to have that as part of the cleanup staff? Do I need to hire a cleanup staff to do it? Are you going to do it? Okay, as a caterer, are you providing beverages? Are you providing are you just doing water, tea, and lemonade? Or are you doing, bar beverages? Stuff like you need to know who is doing what. Okay, caterer, are you taking out the trash at the end of the night? Once you clear out all your food and everything that you brought that's on the table, are you taking out the trash? Like, you have to make sure things, it sounds small, but trust me, at the end of the day, when it's time to break down everything and your vendors are gone and you ready to go on your honeymoon or ready to go and retire for the night and everybody else ready to leave, but everybody looking like, well, who's supposed to sweep the floor? Good question. Who's supposed to sweep the floor? So you have to make sure that once you have these contracts, that you have your duties, their duties and everything lined up out in the contract. And that's very important because I have some stories. But okay, let me tell you a story. Personal story. So I was hired as a day of coordinator for this wedding. Beautiful couple. It was a particular situation with that. Again, I'm hired last. They realized the venue required them to have a day of coordinator. So the venue also required for their vendors, certain vendors, to do a walkthrough with one of the people who are in the venue to make sure everything that they're supposed to do is done. So the caterer was supposed to do a walkthrough when they was finished with the kitchen to make sure the kitchen was in good repair before they leave. And then the decorator actually supposed to have been the second person who do the walkthrough, because once the caterer leave and everything that's in the reception hall should be put up, and make sure all that stuff, all the decoration going, no glitter, confetti and stuff like that on the floor. Certain things they didn't want tape on certain places and stuff like that. All that stuff falls on what the decorator did. So at the end of the evening, I told the decorator, but they left. And they did not do the walkthrough. So I said, something just told me, let me just go make sure everything is done before I leave. So I ended up staying late. I didn't, in my contract, I was supposed to leave, an hour or two prior to it, because one time I leave, it's supposed to just be breakdown. But when I realized the decorator kind of left really quickly before, I think the decorator left before the DJ, photographer, and stuff like that. So, things was over with, but it was one of the first vendors to leave. And I was like, but let me just go check just to make sure. So I go with the person we walked through. They said everything was fine. However, later on, the couple came back to me and it was like, hey, just FYI, if you ever work with this place again, just realize they don't want X, Y, and Z to happen. And so I'm just like, well, what? What? And so they wasn't able to get that full deposit back because the decorator or somebody on the decorator staff put tape on places that they didn't want tape to be, and something about the trash. Mind you, as a coordinator, I don't do it with decorations. I tell everybody, hire a decorator, hire a professional, okay? I don't deal with that. So I didn't even know, I wasn't even aware that was even a thing. So that was that. And so that just goes back to the making sure what duties are out later. And they knew that it wasn't on me. I made it really, really clear that I don't do breakdowns, don't do cleanup. That's not what, us here at Let's Toast Events, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to make sure everything in your wedding day runs smooth, everybody where it's supposed to be, everything, all your wishes and desires are met for that day. But when it comes time to be getting ready to leave, we don't clean up food. And, I assist. We definitely assist to get things moving. We're not going to just sit down with everybody. That's not what we're going to do. We want to make sure things are moving along and stuff like that, but it's not our specific duty. Typically, the caterer is going to clean up all the food on the tables. And then the decorator will clean up all the decorations and get all the linen and stuff. Once that's done, basically everything is done besides dumping the trash. And that's going to fall on a little bit of everybody. Just depends. But because it was not exactly clear which vendor would be charging of what, the decorator maybe didn't understand the rules and regulations for the venue. That kind of dropped the ball. So again, that's just an example on why it's important to understand what duties the vendors are going to perform. And then after that, also understand the four things. Understand the cost. Understand the cost. Understand how much things cost. Payment arrangement and things like that. Because a lot of time in contract, due to non-payment, if you don't pay in full by a certain time, if you late a certain number of times and stuff like that, they can void your contract. So you want to make sure you understand how much it costs, what payments you need to be made, how to make the payments, and make sure you understand any penalties if you're late or anything like that. So as a quick recap, how to pick your vendors. Where do you go, or how do you even decide to start picking your vendors? The first thing you can do is find your budget and find out who's within your budget. Once you find out who's within your budget, you can actually ask people. To figure out who's in your budget, you can ask people. Ask people. Word of mouth is still the biggest form of advertising. Ask people who just got married, who have experience, or who understands hey, I need a decorator. Who do you prefer? Who do you use? Who did your cousin use when they just got married? Check out these vendors' social media, websites, of course, reviews, things like that. Make sure that you see enough of their work that you understand or have a good enough feeling if they're going to be able to fulfill your wishes and desires for that day. And then last but not least, you can also go to trade shows. Trade shows is also a really good way of figuring out who, which vendors, and you see a lot of different vendors at one time, so you can get a good idea for a lot of vendors, and then a lot of times you'll find vendors who kind of like group up together, so you'll see like a DJ and a photographer together, and they kind of work together a lot of times, so they got a good rapport. You already know what you'll get from that. Is a win-win situation if you ask me. So those are four things you can do to find vendors. After you find the vendors, the fourth thing you should do once you get these vendors, and what you should expect from vendors is, one, that they are licensed, insured, and or accredited in whichever way that is required for the venue, and whichever way you feel comfortable with. The bare minimum, I feel like they at least need to have a business license, because you need to make sure this person is serious, because it's your wedding day. You want to make sure they're taking their business serious, because this is one of the most important days of your life. Excuse me. So you want to make sure that they are as serious as you are. You need to make sure they are serious enough to present a contract that you both will sign. Present that contract, make sure it's signed, and make sure you understand what the contract entails. Make sure you understand what duties are aligned with it. Is the DJ providing the photo booth too? Is that an add-on service? Is that included? How many hours do you get for the photo booth? Make sure you understand all that, because all that is very important when it comes to you enjoying your big day. And last but not least, make sure you understand the payment requirements. Make sure you understand, if you decide to cancel your wedding, what kind of money, what type of money, or how much money you get back, how much deposit is required. What will happen if you miss payments, you make late payments? Do they allow you to make a payment, or do they just want one lump sum? So that is very important. So I hope this video was very, very helpful and informative to you all. I hope you were able to take notes. I hope I was able to give you some insight on what you should look for from vendors, how to select vendors, different places and ways you can go to get vendors. All that stuff is very important, because vendors is going to make or break your day. They are one of the most biggest parts of your day. Of course, besides you and your spouse, your guest is the vendors. You want to make sure you got some quality people, okay? I want you to also, because it is engagement season, y'all. And once you get engaged, the next thing you should do once you start planning is get this book. Get this book, How to Jump the Broom Without Falling into Debt. Why? Because who wants to be in debt? Who wants to be in debt? Who wants to be in debt when you can find ways to cut costs so that you and your mate can embark on this marriage without the debt of having to figure out how to continue to pay for vendors, venues, and things like that. So get this book, How to Jump the Broom Without Falling into Debt. It has 6 tips and a whole bunch of bonus tips of all different things. Different tips on things, like I'm going to tell y'all some. One of the tips I said, you need to start planning your wedding early. Another one is hire professionals, create a budget, receive help, lower your guest count, information on DIYs, and a whole bunch of bonus tips. So it breaks down all those tips. I got some resources in here from other vendors that I use, that I have good relationships with, that they gave me some tips, some quotes, all that good stuff. So How to Jump the Broom Without Falling into Debt. You need to get this. If you know someone who got engaged, it's a perfect engagement gift to give them. It is Christmas time. You can put it in someone's stocking that you know is about to plan a wedding for next year, anything like that. Get this book. Get this book. It's going to change somebody's life, and it's going to knock your socks off. I promise you that. So the way I like to end all my videos is by, again, raising your glass, letting everybody know that we do it for life, we do it for love, and we toast it all. Love, life, and let's toast. Don't forget, follow me, social media everywhere, Let's Toast Events, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you are following this YouTube page. Make sure that you liking and commenting on it as well, okay? Let me know you stop by. Let me know if my information is making sense. Give me some feedback. Talk to me, I'll talk back.